What's up, people? It's Joey Bags coming at you with a video today where what I want to talk about is just some random things that came to my head. Well, actually not really random. There were questions on some videos from viewers that I thought were actually pretty good questions and something I'd actually like to discuss. Before we get started today, I want to give a huge shout out to my people over at the shop Discord. So Trav, MX5 all day on Twitch, the Big Beard, Jose, all the other guys over there. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. So huge shout out to ya. I am in the MX5 and I'm doing a track day at Lime Rock, and I'm in Assetto Corsa because it has been weeks and weeks and weeks since I have hopped into Assetto Corsa. It's been pretty much iRacing. I felt, hey, you know what, I needed to get back in. There's been some updates. I kind of gotta catch up. So here we are. Right now, as I said, I'm in Lime Rock. I'm playing around with my pure settings. So I've got the pure PP filter on, and I went in and I set the photorealism to 1, to its highest setting. So you let me know what the video looks like, how good are the visuals. As I said, I'm in the MX5 and I just changed the weather to scattered clouds, and it's about, I want to say 4 or 5 p.m. or so in the evening. So there you go. Let's actually go ahead and let me fix a few things here before we get started. Let's move this so we can see it. All right, there we go. This we're actually good. You know what, let's make this delta a little bit bigger. That's good, that's good. All right, I think I'm good with everything else. So let's get into driving. As I said, I'm in the MX5 and I'm actually driving full manual mode. So clutch pedal and H pattern shifter. That's what you're gonna see. Don't be surprised if you don't see a downshift from 6 to 4. So as I was saying, the whole premise of the videos, I had some questions on some of my older videos, mainly about what my thoughts were on the PXN V12 DDL, which we all know how much I love my PXN wheelbase. Also what I thought about that, the Moza R3, and I want to say there were a few questions that were like, you know, how did I think about that, and also including Fanatec, you know, into that lineup of wheelbases. But the biggest one that really got to me was the PXN versus the Moza R3. And what am I thinking value and, you know, value-wise, and how good of a base actually is it? Now, I've used the R3. Oh, I came into here a little bit too hot talking. Yeah, there we go. All right, that's anyway. So as I was saying, I've used the R3. I actually used the R3. I want to say it was quite a few months ago. It was not too long after they had announced it. And when I used it, I thought it was actually a pretty good wheelbase. I was using it on PC, on iRacing, and it was very smooth. The detail was okay. At the time, at the time I had already had my experience with my PXN and the Moza R5. I still hadn't gotten, oh, and my Kama C5. I hadn't gotten my my Fanatec setup yet, so I wasn't at 8 newton meters. You know, so pretty much what I'm, you know, everything I've got is, you know, 5 newton meters, or, you know, 5 plus in the way, well, Camus and PXN is 6 and Camus is, you know, says 5, feels more, feels like 6 or 7, honestly. So I do have an experience, or I do have experience with the R3, actually hands-on experience. And when the question came in, you know, what do I think between the PXN V12 and the R3, I've got to say that, you know what, had you asked me this question more than 9 months ago, when they, you know, when the R3 was supposed to be shipped, depending on what your platform of choice was, I may say, hey, you know what, the R3 is not bad. It's a pretty decent ecosystem. You know, Moza they have wheels, they have accessories. You know, it's not like PXN's ecosystem as of right now is rather non-existent. They have a few accessories, which I think I have just about everything they have. I've got the H pattern shifter, I've got their handbrake, I have their 4-port USB hub, I've got the pedals with the brake performance kit, I have the wheelbase, I do have their 13-inch wheel that was actually for the 10 newton meter base that they have. I actually had the 10 newton meter base for some time, so I do have first-hand experience with that. And their ecosystem is rather small. They did say they were going to release some stuff this year. We're already toward the middle of the year, actually going toward the end of the year, and I haven't seen anything from them. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, that was a little too hot again, damn it. So I really don't know what's gonna happen there. No load cell pedal, no upgraded shifter. So far, no 15 newton meter wheelbase, you know, as they said they were gonna have. You know, that ecosystem is lacking. The one saving grace that PXN has over Moza is the fact, or the one saving grace that PXN has that does save it, I won't say over Moza, is that they use the NRG style quick release. So because they use the NRG style quick release, and I know it has a proper name, but off the top of my head I can't remember what it is, so I'm just gonna go with NRG style. You can use Moza wheels on it. That's the funny part. So if you get the universal hub from Moza that plugs into your PC via USB, and you get one of the 2 wheels, I want to say it's the FSR wheel. It's okay, so the formula style wheel that has the screen on it, that one has a port in the back that you can connect the cable to the universal hub, and the Moza KS wheel, which I actually have, and it's sitting just above my head there. Those 2 wheels you're able to connect to the universal hub and control or set all your key bindings and everything through Pit House software. And you can go ahead and map your buttons, and it's recognizable in sim. Those are the only 2 wheels that I know that have that cable from Moza that lets you do that. But you know what? It's 2 more than what PXN have. And then apart from that, you know, whatever custom wheel you may want to go ahead and do, you can get a wheel from Sim Magic. I believe they have the GT Neo, which you can plug directly into your PC via USB, and it's recognized, and you're able to go ahead and you know, map your buttons and, you know, set up whatever you need to set up. There's also, you know, if you wanted to get like I'm gonna probably butcher the name, the Percorni engineering wheels, you know, those DIY wheels, you could always get one of those, and, you know, you don't have to go balls to the wall set up the way they do with, like, you know, awesome aluminum plates and carbon fiber and all this. You know, if you wanted to do a nice basic wheel with them, you know, you could always do that as well. That's an option. And you can use that with your PXN wheelbase. Hell, you can even use that with the Moza wheelbase. There's a few others that you're able to use, like the Simagic, the Picorni, Simson. They have a actual button box that you can find on Amazon for like $150, and you're able to go ahead and hook up that button box to your PC via USB cable, so you can map your buttons and set it up. And then on the front, if you get a wheel that matches the PCD of its bolt pattern, which may be like 70 millimeter or so, don't quote me on that, you have another custom wheel, you know, that you can do with that. Hell, I mean, you could even theoretically use a Fanatec wheel if you get the correct hubs and adapters to connect it to your PC. Pretty much where I'm going with is any wheel that you can hook up to your PC, so that way you can program whatever. Dang it, I went hot again. So that way you can program whatever buttons you may need to program or set or assign in sim that you need. You're able to, if you're able to do that, you can use that wheel with the PXN. I mean, yes, you could also use it with the Moza, technically, but that kind of gets you out of that whole limited ecosystem with PXN. But aside from that, we're really gonna focus on power and price. Now, this is, I think, where Moza kind of dropped the ball. If I'm correct, and I think I am, the R3 bundle is priced at $399. Now, the R3, unfortunately, is a 3.9 Newton meter, I believe, peak torque wheelbase. Quite honestly, for 3.9 Newton meters at $400, that's really not going to cut it nowadays. Maybe 9 to 12 months ago, when that wheelbase was originally supposed to be released and the market was not as saturated as it is now, and even Moza themselves having the prices of their R5 bundle, R9 wheelbases being a little bit higher, you know, it made sense then. Also, you know, in those before days time, you know, back times, Fanatec, their offerings were still rather expensive comparatively. So at the time that Moza was supposed to drop this wheelbase, the price point of $400 for this, and it being Xbox compatible, was an attractive offer. For whatever reason, I would imagine it's only licensing issues that they had with Microsoft, they were delayed, and they were delayed for almost a year. And in them doing that, the market changed. The market got saturated. Fanatec, for whatever issues they had, still having, you know, whatever craziness is going there, Fanatec released some ready-to-race bundles that you were able to get for the sub $400 range. Now, yes, there is a caveat here when it comes to anything related to Fanatec. There's still a shit show even months after the whole Black Friday debacle. So their shipping is still rather inconsistent. You've got people that even to this day are still waiting for, you know, their stuff. They're still waiting to hear back about RMAs and returns. People are making purchases, and some people will get them within the time frame allotted, and then others are left wondering what's gonna happen. So unfortunately, yes, while Fanatec did drop prices, and they did drop prices quite aggressively, you still have the issues that come along with Fanatec. Moza themselves, they dropped the price on their R5 bundle to under $450. I believe now at this time it's just under $450, and at that point you're looking at a 5 Newton meter base, their ES wheel, which quite honestly isn't anything to write home about, SRP light pedals, which also are not anything to write home about, but they are better than the potentiometer pedals that come with the G29 or any of the entry-level Logitech equipment. And yeah, the desk clamp. The Moza Pit House software is actually pretty good comparatively to PXN's, but you know, that's pretty much what's in their bundle, and it's about $450. So for $50 more, you can get a much better bundle. I mean, albeit it is pretty much the same pedals and the same wheel, except now this wheel is what gives you the Xbox compatibility. You're getting that Xbox compatibility. Quite honestly, I think I've said this before, Xbox compatibility isn't really that big of a thing. Why? Because all of the sims or games that you would play on Xbox are on Game Pass, so they're free for the most part, except for like maybe Assetto Corsa. So pretty much Forza Horizon, you know, all those. Dirt 2, I think, is also on there. Those are all the same things you can get on Game Pass PC. So if you have Game Pass for Xbox, you've also got Game Pass for PC. And if you have access to a gaming PC, which quite honestly, you most likely do. I mean, gamers for the most part, we tend not to really lock ourselves into one ecosystem. We like having options. So, you know, you most likely have an Xbox and a PC and a gaming PC. It's available on PC, so it's like, and it's probably going to run a little bit better on PC than it is going to on the Xbox. And I have an Xbox Series X. I don't use it as much as you'd think I would. I really don't. But either way, you know, that Xbox compatibility really isn't worth downgrading to a 3.9 Newton meter wheelbase. You know, the wheel is the same, the pedals are the same, the desk clamp is the same. The wheelbase is just a little bit smaller than the R5, but it's 3.9 Newton meters. I can't see why you would go ahead and not just pay the extra $50 plus and get an R5 bundle. And like I said, with Fanatec, there's that option. And then with PXN, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So I think right now with it being Prime Day, they're having discounts. So I think on Amazon, you're looking at about $513 for the PXN bundle. Now, here's the thing with the PXM bundle. Oh, that was horrible. That was horrible. If you guys noticed, I went 6 to 4 and ooh. And this dude snuck up. So like I was saying, yeah, they have a bundle for $513, and now you're gonna say, but Joey, $513 compared to $400 or $450? Yes, you're right. The $513 after taxes and stuff is going to be quite a bit more, but with that, you're getting a 6 Newton meter wheelbase that has really good power, really good fidelity, really good definition. I thoroughly enjoy it. Not only that, you do have the options of having platform compatible, so I say console compatibility. So plug in an Xbox controller, it works on your Xbox. it's included in the box is the N5 dongle, and that works wirelessly with your PS5. Now, there's a caveat with that too. There's a lot of reports of lots of disconnect issues with that dongle. I've experienced them myself. I was sent a newer version of the dongle that honestly I just have not had time to test out. It is in the list of things that I have to do, but it's just hasn't been high on the list. There's some people saying that, oh, I've got a different. You can look back in some of the comments on my past videos. I've had some people, that's where the reports have come in, where, you know, depending on the power supply unit, I think it's like a 7.5 amp or, you know, power supply, that they didn't have those disconnect issues. I have both of PXN's new and old power supplies, so I mean, I could test that to see if that is an issue. I doubt it. I really doubt it, but you know, I could. But as I've said in the past, for me, it's really not a big thing, because PS5, I do use it more than the Xbox, but it's really just for Gran Turismo. And the whole disconnect issue, it was so random that I could go an hour and not have a problem, or I could have a gaming session where it was happening every 15 minutes. And at that point, if it really frustrated me, I never played Gran Turismo, and that's pretty much where I had the issues, was Gran Turismo. I can't remember it happening while I was on ACC. So if I'm there on Gran Turismo and I'm not really playing seriously, I'm just driving for fun because it's Gran Turismo, if it disconnects and I have to unplug and plug it back in, it's really not driving me that crazy. Why? Because I'm just not taking that driving session on Gran Turismo that seriously. It's always, for me at least, and this is just for me, my more serious driving is happening here on PC, not on PS5. That's just kind of like to just sit back and relax and have fun. So that's why that really wasn't an issue for me, and it was something that I was gonna report, you know, because it happened. And if you decide to take my word to purchase, you know, this wheelbase, I'm gonna be completely honest about everything that I'm experiencing with it. So, you know, that was the issue that I had with it, and you know, I'm not the only one. You know, that was one of the issues. So I'll say that's out there. But for me, PC has always been number one. And on PC, I've never had an issue with the PXN. Ever. It's always worked the way it's supposed to, the way I expect it to. So this is why it was like, you know what? I can easily recommend it, having that little, you know, in your back pocket. Hey, guess what? It works doing this and this, but it's also console compatible. Plug in a controller and you can use it on your consoles. And it's like, that's kind of awesome. The next wheelbase that you can even remotely do something like that is the Fanatec GTDD Pro, the PlayStation branded direct drive base from Fanatec, that by itself is like $700. And if you want to use it on Xbox, you've got to get an Xbox compatible wheel. Cheapest Xbox compatible wheel is $200. So now at this point, you're almost $900 deep into Fanatec gear. So that way you can play some Gran Turismo and some Forza on Xbox and PlayStation 5. And quite honestly, I don't think, and while I do have a GTDD Pro 5, just for, you know, transparency, that I paid for, it's not like Fanatec sent it to me. I do have one that I bought. I can't justify telling anybody, hey, you know what? Spend almost $1,000 and get this instead of the PXN. You know, I will say that the Fanatec is a much, worry-free experience on PS5 because it doesn't have those disconnect issues. At least I never came across them. So, you know, there's that. But quite honestly, you know, it's not bad. You know, the Fanatec wasn't bad, but it's almost $1,000 just to be able to play on two consoles. Now, if you just want PC and Xbox, you can get a Fanatec setup for under $500. I want to say it's like $430 something before, or no, maybe it's $470 something before taxes and shipping. Of course, like I said earlier, you just have to deal with Fanatec's bullshit. You know, until the merger with Corsair is finalized, and hopefully things are much better. But really, you know, that's how I'm seeing it. It's like, if you're asking me which way should you go between a Moza R3 and a PXM V12, the PXM V12 is going to win, and the main reason it's going to win is that it's priced aggressively for what you're getting. The Moza R3 is very underpowered for what it is. And also, the Moza R3 is about a year late. Had they come out, you know, when they were supposed to, I think it would have done much better than it's probably faring now. And even now, you have to go to Moza's website to check out what sims or what games the wheelbase is compatible with on Xbox, because it's not compatible with some titles. I don't know if that's improved since launch. I really haven't kept up because it's not something that's on my radar. I've already done my videos on it. I've already said my piece. So it's like, it's not really on my radar, not something that I would sit there and waste my money on. Quite honestly, I wouldn't even waste, you know, the money for the channel to review it, because quite honestly, it's just a detuned R5. Really, that's what it is. You know, physically a little bit smaller, but still using the same ES wheel, with the ES wheel having an extra function of being console compatible. Quite honestly, if you can get your hands on that Xbox ES wheel, you can throw that on any of the Moza bases and you are now Xbox compatible. Now, whether all the buttons work, I don't know, that whole compatibility issue that Moza was having. But yeah, you technically can go ahead and do that. So that's where I am on the Moza the Moza R3 versus the PXN V12, where I stay. You know, my suggestion would be, if that's what you're looking for, that's what your budget's at, the PXN is going to be a better option. If you need some Xbox compatibility, you know, you're kind of looking apples to, well, and maybe it's still apples to oranges a little bit, because, you know, the PXN offers quite a bit more than the R3 does. But, you know, if you're considering the R3 because of its Xbox compatibility, I can tell you I've had better time with PXN on Xbox than I did, you know, I've had a really, you know, it worked well. I'm not going to say it was better than PS5 other than the disconnect issues. I never had the disconnect issues with the Xbox. And if you want more insight into that, I would just recommend you go back about 10 months or so, and you can see my videos as it pertains to the PXN V12, using it on both consoles, using it on PC, and comparing it to the R5. And even the R5 I used with a Resolution 2, and I was able to use it on both consoles, even though now that is not an option. At least I don't think it is. As of the last time I checked, Microsoft was blocking the use of unlicensed third-party peripherals again, like they did in November. So yeah, I don't know, I haven't gone back to check. It could be, might not be, but last time that I know, it was blocked. So that is what it is. With that, guys, I think I have babbled on long enough. Let's see. Ooh, almost a half-hour video. I'm gonna say, let me pit. You guys are all awesome. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're at like 550 something subs right now. I never thought I would get to this number. Now I just want to strive to get to that 1,000+ mark. Quite honestly, I know I haven't been, you know, I haven't been uploading as much as I used to. And that's mainly because it's summertime now. The kids are home. I'm spending more time with them. So honestly, family has been coming ahead of sim time. But I haven't forgot you all. And I still do have some product reviews coming. There is some still product from 3D Wrap for the Fanatec GT, the McLaren GT3 wheel, upgraded paddles that I need to install, and also some pedal upgrades. So you'll have those videos coming soon. With that, as always, you guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. As I said at the beginning of the video, shout out to my guys from the shop. Discord, MX5 all day. You can find him on Twitch, MX5 all day. Trav, the other guys, you guys are awesome. I'll catch ya on the next, let's see, I'll catch ya on the next video. Yeah, got my cursor there. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.